Hey everyone, Kellen Meinke here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers. We're at Ford Field where the Lions just wrapped up their 13-12 victory against the Cleveland Browns, Justin, and a couple of storylines developing out of this game, and certainly the quarterback situation is one of them. Matthew Stafford played only one series, so this game was all about Dan Orlovsky and Kellen Moore. And I think we know now what we already knew before, which was this team's in a lot of trouble without Matthew Stafford. What was your impression of the way the two guys played behind Stafford?
Yeah, I got a tweet today. It said basically, if Stafford goes down, would you rather see his team lose with Dan Orlovsky or lose with Kellen Moore? I mean, the guy clearly got it. It's not going to go far without Stafford behind the steering wheel. But Kellen Moore's performance was outstanding. I think we both can agree. Efficient. He had a few minimal mistakes. He got away with a pick. Because called back with defensive holding, had the fumble, which really wasn't his fault, but it was a really good evening for him. Orlovsky was significantly more shaky. Caldwell defended him, said there were some drops, but it was clear Kellen Moore outperformed Dan Orlovsky tonight. Asking Caldwell about it, he kind of hedged on Moore getting a bigger opportunity with the second team. It's understandable. It's one game. You don't overreact, but Moore's had a full preseason slate last year where he performed really well. This was obviously a great performance for him. And if he keeps it up, the Lions really need to, I think, seriously consider giving him a crack at that second team job, especially if they're going to only carry two quarterbacks. I know they gave Orlovsky a little bit more money. I know Caldwell's got a familiarity there. But, Kellen Moore's doing all the right things. And if he has a couple more performances like tonight, why not go with the guy that's performing well?
I think everyone deserves a shot, especially if they're performing well. And so if Kellen Moore continues to play this way and Dan Orlovsky, I think we'll have some questions pop up. But it was interesting to me after the game because Caldwell tried to downplay any kind of quarterback controversy at number 2, saying Dan's our guy. I talked to Dan Orlovsky, who unsurprisingly said, they brought me in to be the number 2, and I expect to be the number 2. And even Kellen Moore, when I talked to him, he really seemed to defer to Orlovsky, saying this is Dan's job, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to compete because that's what I do. But Dan was brought in here for a reason, and so I think everyone deserves a shot, and if Kellen continues to play this way, he'll get one. But I think at this point, it's way too premature to say that number 2 job. That number 2 job is legitimately open. I think that is Dan Orlovsky's position, even though he had a rough start. And when I talked to Orlovsky, he was pleased with the way he finished. He said he started to find a groove, and so we'll just have to see how this plays out. But I think at this point, that job is not open. I just want to make that clear. According to everyone I talked to, that job is Dan Orlovsky's. So.
I agree. I'd put it at 95%. But I'd like to see, I guess, that 5% grow. I'd like there to feel like there's a legitimate competition because Caldwell comes in here and he preaches clean slate, but he can't bring in a guy that he's already determined is a fit for that job and not give Kellen Moore that clean slate. And I haven't been the biggest Kellen Moore supporter his entire time here. I think he's got some tools that are inadequate to be an NFL quarterback, but the play determines everything, and he made a statement, I guess, tonight.
Yeah. Outside of the quarterback play, I know that there were some performances that both of us were pleased with. I know talking off camera, it's Ryan Broyles and Corey Fuller. I think they both helped themselves, and on MLive, I wrote the story about Fuller catching the game-winning pass, and it's just one pass in a game that doesn't count. We've seen over the years countless guys catch passes. It didn't matter who got cut. A week later, these things happen. But still, you have to be encouraged by the body of work that Fuller's put together throughout training camp. He's looked good to both of us pretty consistently. I mean, he has moments where he drops a ball or whatever, but I'm really pleased with the growth I've seen in his route running. He was bad last year, I thought, in his route running. He didn't have crisp routes, he didn't have crisp cuts, and he seems to be a lot better on that front. Not polished, but certainly a lot of improvement. At 6'2", he can do a lot of damage if you can just get him running a route.
The worst part about his game last year, in my opinion, was the release. For a guy that's got track speed, he just came off the line so poorly. It didn't make a lot of sense, but everything about his game is better this year. The thing I've noted several times is body control. He makes catches in traffic. His upper body strength is more. I think it's allowing him to take the balls at the high point away from the defender. He didn't need that today. He ran a crisp route, easily beat his defender into the end zone, and Kellen Moore going back there just laid a perfect pass in his arm.
And to your point about the release, it's interesting you bring that up because I caught up with Corey after the game, and I asked him what happened on that play. And he said, they were press man the whole game, and it gave me a lot of opportunities to work out my game and stuff. And I was working in that release, and on that play, on the game-winning play, perfect release, wide open. Kellen Moore put it in there, touchdown.
He's gone now. Assistant receiver coach Kyle Valero. They put in a ton of work last year. I mean, I just remember watching him work on that press jam all last year. It's a year's worth of work, and it's starting to pay off. As for Broyles, we've talked countless times about him. He's been working with the rookies, the second team. He came in a little bit earlier, played a lot with Orlovsky today, made 3 grabs, ran great routes, was open, yards after the catch. Caldwell is one of the few guys that he singled out after the postgame as a guy that performed well. And Broyles needs that. He needs to catch his coach's eye right now. Because he's on the bubble more than maybe we thought coming into camp. So this was a great day for him, reestablish himself. And then one more guy I wanted to bring up that I didn't mention earlier, but Joe Fourier, obviously does what he does well, great hands, catches passes, probably made Orlovsky look a little bit better than his performance was. He had some really nice blocks too. There was the Michaela Shore 14 run. He lined up in line, pulled, came through the hole first, opened up that hole. I mean, that's been his noted weakness since he was drafted. It may be overly criticized, but a little bit of a silence of doubters today for sure.
Yeah, I talked to Fourier after the game, and I actually asked him specifically about that block on the LaShore run. And first of all, he was like, "Well, thanks for noticing." And if you know Joe, he pulls it off. Yeah. But the thing with Fourier is that he knows what people say about him. He knows that he's this great pass catcher, and he knows that he's kind of a red zone niche player right now, but he wants to be something more, and he knows to do that he's going to have to be a blocker. And he knows what people say about his blocking, and he knows that his blocking has not been up to par, and he told me that was a big off-season focus for him. I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical throughout camp. I saw some poor moments in the blocking, but I also saw some good moments. And in the game, when the guys are going full speed and actually hitting each other, we saw some improvement there. Joe Fourier doesn't make those blocks last year. So I definitely see some growth in that part of his game.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'7". There's always going to be leverage issues. It's going to be tough for him to get low enough all the time. There are going to be times where, he just looks bad because he gets caught high, because that's just the physical build he is. But he's a lot stronger than we give credit for, and when he does get in the right position, he does get the right technique, he can move men.
It's almost 1 a.m. We're going to get out of here.
Yeah.
Lions start the preseason off with a 13-12 win. Certainly some encouraging signs and certainly some things to work on, especially offensively. The Lions want to get that going after going more than 58 minutes without a touchdown in the preseason opener.
Need to hold on to the damn ball.
For Justin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. We're holding on to the damn ball. See ya.